Welcome to So I Was in This House. And today we will be having somebody in the house that is quite a remarkable person. But before we get to that, I would just like to say thank you to a good friend of mine who has this like thing. He does this like stuff. I don't know exactly how he does it. It's like this galvanized crazy metal, and it like, so he had like a day where he was I don't know, it was raining outside, and he was like, "Hey, I'm gonna make you this thing." And actually I was gonna hang it like right back here, and then the bracket broke right off of it that I tried to glue on because I'm terrible at gluing things. So very, very cool. I just want to thank him. His name's Hilly, and great job, dude. Look at this thing. That's so cool. Let me bring Valerie up here. Valerie, what's going on? Hello.
Hey.
Hello. What's up,
hey,
buddy?
everybody.
You got this. Yeah. People start to file in a little bit, you know. It's sometimes I like to go live, and sometimes I don't. I think that sometimes the live can take away from the conversation sometimes, but here we are, and so it's hit or miss, right? So I'm thinking maybe it's 8:30, 9 o'clock at night. There'll be people hanging out, and who knows, they're going straight through this thing, but
it's my first live, so I've done other podcasts before, but
Yeah.
This is my first live, so I'm
Very,
excited
very-
to be on. I've got Chris with me just for a few minutes to say hi.
Sup, little guy?
He's excited to be meeting his famous YouTube friend, Everett.
Lil C. Yeah.
We'll
That's
see.
cool. I had a buddy growing up. Actually, his name
Okay.
was Lil C, and he was a very famous DJ. Actually, he got like radio shows, and he was like on Sirius, and his name was Lil C too. So very, very cool. I like your background. You got the moons and everything there. It's pretty
Yeah, it's
neat.
pumpkins and moons. We're just trying to keep it festive for the fall. So
24/7 mom and bookkeeper. Is that what it says?
no, it says rock star.
Oh,
All right,
rock star. I'm
ready for
sorry.
bed?
Yeah, I need
Chris
a.
is gonna check out and go head to bed while we have our
Hey, bye,
together. So
Chris.
it's great being on.
That's
All
very
right.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. So we booked this a little while ago for sure. And
Yeah.
you are, you've been in the business a minute. So like, just, who are you?
So I am a call center operations. I help implement strategies within call centers, within call by call management for the technicians, making sure that the customer has a 5-star experience across the entire level, from the communication funnel of the branding that we have when we're reaching out to them, to the experiences that they have whenever they're calling in to speak to the CSRs, everything across the board. So I really have a lot of hats. As one of my former bosses has told me, I get bored because I look for areas to help implement more strategies and drive more profitable revenue. So it's just something that I do, within that role of, it's hard to explain in a nutshell, but I do a lot of things for driving profitable revenue across teams.
Yep. You're the brains behind the desk. Yeah.
Yes. So I am also very interested in, helping others grow within the industry now that I've learned what I've learned and gotten what I've gotten with my certification. So with women in HVACR, LadyTitans, lots of different ways to find your tribe within the industry and make new friends as well.
What's your favorite part about this industry?
Taking care of my son, the support that comes from it, networking. It is something that I can learn from other people's successes and failures and learn to be a better person personally and professionally, all the ways that I love to do so. So
Do you think that you would do those things anyway? Like no matter what you did?
I wasn't, when I was growing up, I wasn't ever thinking like, that's what I want to be, is like, driving sales. I didn't ever realize that's what my dad was doing. But he was a salesman for paint. And then I was thinking today, like, that's actually an industry I could get into well now, so like there's roofing, plumbing, pest control, irrigation, air conditioning, like all the different things that this comes from with learning ServiceTitan and the way to strategize. But there's garage doors. There's so many different things, so I really don't know what I would be doing, but I know that it would be something to support my family, because the minute that I found out that I was going to be having a son, that's the minute my life changed. I started making better decisions for myself, and every single day I make those decisions to not just drive profitable revenue, but to support my family. So that's what it really is about, is serving at the highest level to take care of my family. So if I take care of them, I take care of yours. It's a quote from Jim Rohn, where you take care, like, I'll take care of me for you, you take care of you for me, and we'll get there together, is one of my favorite quotes, and I quote it all the time. But it really is just the bottom line of what I do is like servant leadership. Is God blessed me with a son, and I fight every day to make sure that he knows that I love him, and he's blessed to have a parent who will work damn hard to find a place within any industry to make sure he's taken care of. But yes, this is a great industry to be in, and I don't know what I would be doing really. I wanted to be a singer, so it's great to be on here with you, because I see you singing karaoke all the time, and I've actually sent you songs together that I'd love to sing with you and things like that. But that's probably what I'd be doing if I was actually like following my dreams. Is like,
some of that's actually not karaoke. I believe it or not. So I actually perform live all the time. I get I do gigs and stuff like that. But yes, I do like to
Yes,
sing.
gigs. Okay, so perfect. Yeah, I saw your
So
post.
like when you see me and I post things like where I'm like on stage with a guitar, like, yeah, so I play gigs like, all the time. That's funny. I didn't actually know. It's amazing how many people are in our industry, like in the trades and that are like musically inclined. Like I was just talking to Sam Wakefield, and Sam was telling me that he is also a like, so we know this already because he has a guitar in the background of his like live streams and all this kind of stuff, but he's like super duper into music. And I think I've met so many people that are like within the trades. Like I feel like, so there's actually a group, and I don't know if you're a part of them, they're called QSC, Quality Service Contractors, and they're sort of like this like branch inside of PHCC, which is the Plumbing Contractors Association. And they actually every year they have like, so they'll bring a band like up on stage, and there's like high level people that have been in the industry forever that like have a band together. They're all like from Chicago, and they perform. And I think that's really cool. And I'll tell you something that like, I'm really glad that you said that, because do you think that we just take ourselves so seriously sometimes? Like we, like in this industry specifically, there's so much happening, and like we're so serious and we're so bent on success that like we oftentimes like forget about the life portion of it. Like, do you feel that way?
I think so. And I think it's the way that the environment that we're in and the age that we're in, it just, we have to be driven to work very hard. And, one of the things that I actually had a picture of, and I don't have it today to show you, but it was me in like the 4th grade and me in like the 5th grade. And it said, the 4th grade, what does Valerie want to do when she grows up? And it says, be a singer. And in the 5th grade, they asked the same thing, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? I said, be a singer. Well, the teacher said something like, that's a hobby. And so they made me pick something like else that I didn't want to do. And you could see the smile on my face from the 4th grade to the 5th grade was completely gone.
Oh, wow.
And so I think that we're kind of like welcome to the machine, in the sense of like, if you want to follow your dreams, we're not really taught. And this is something Catherine Elizabeth has spoken on. We're not really taught financial literacy. We're only just taught how to like, fit within the peg and get hammered down. A nail that fits in gets hammered down the hardest or whatever. So like,
yeah.
If they had taught me financial literacy, sure, I would have wanted to be an entrepreneur right off the start. I would have been doing this a million times sooner, working as hard as I could. But that wasn't anything they taught us in school. So,
well, school, again, I've heard this before, where school was intended to teach like factory workers, essentially, like anything that you could manufacture and make. Like the original schools were sort of set up so that you could come out and then you were taught like, get a good, job, right? And then like, oh, maybe if you're like somewhat smart, you might be able to even go to college.
Yeah.
And then you can like really make something of yourself, and you don't have to dig ditches, and you don't have to work on, plumbing and HVAC. And now the highest paid people like are like the people that you need the most are tradesmen, are, HVAC, plumbers, electricians. These are people who are becoming millionaires like left and right, because everybody lied to their kids at some point in time in the, whatever, 80s, 90s, whatever it was.
You're not going to have a calculator in your pocket. Like them saying that, well, we have one in our pocket all the time, is in our phone. Like they didn't know, So with the plumbing, that is one of the most lucrative positions someone could have, and they didn't teach us that in school. Like, they said like, oh, you can be the president, you can be this, that. Those are things that are outside of our reach. If they had said like, oh, here, let me teach you this is what you need to do, this is how like the financial literacy thing of it. If you can learn margins and P&Ls and stuff in school, they're not teaching you that, how to do your taxes.
Well, it depends. So now, and so they're getting smarter now, but like it does depend like on where you went to school, and there's a socioeconomical issues there where, like, okay, I went to a school where before I got into the school, there was actually an auto shop. There was an auto mechanic shop in the school that I went to. And then they closed down the auto shop like just like after getting in there. And then, but they did have, and you could graduate my high school with a certification to be one of two things. Well, it was more than one, two things, but you could be a cosmetologist. You could come out with an actual license for cosmetology school, which was applicable. And I knew people that came out with that. And there was another program where you could come out and be like a CNA, where you could be a certified nurse's assistant, and they take you for like half a day. So like there are paths in schools to go through the trades, but like a lot of the kids that went through those programs, not nursing necessarily, but like for kids that went to like the vocational schools, like where they did half a day in school and half a day in vocational school, they were like, oh, these are the outcasts, the losers. These are the guys that they're never going to make it in life. And those guys were learning the trades. And now, a lot of those guys, as we know, are highly successful people. So,
same with the programmers behind the systems with the AI. Like, they're some of my favorite people because their brains just work such a different way. But like in school, they were the outcasts or the nerds or whoever you want to call it. But really, they're the ones, like my husband, he knows how to, program stuff that I couldn't even understand. But like, it's something within business that you need to know how to do to even make your own like Zaps and stuff. So it really is something they should start teaching in school more, how to be more successful in business and for people in general.
Well, it's you touched two things there. You're talking about trades and you're talking about business, because you're on the business side of it. You work in the office, you have to ensure certain things, right? And and so people tend to forget that too. And I think a lot of people that tend to forget that are also people who are like on the consumer side of things, where they'll be like, oh, I don't understand why that plumber charges, $600 for this part. Well, they had to go to school to figure it out. They had to diagnose the problem. There's materials involved. There's a truck outside. There's insurance that has to happen. So it's very interesting, the dynamic between, but yet you'll go and spend $1,500 on an iPhone that probably cost them about, $50. So,
right. And with the plumbers and with the industry and the trades, they, not only are they not paying us enough with our experience and we had to get the tools and everything else, but it's just that they really, we need to respect, because they wouldn't even like give you a lunch break if they had the chance. So like listing your business hours and everything else and offering time frames, it just boils down to like, yes, you want the customer to have a great experience, but you want them to also understand that your plumbers have a life. And I keep speaking on plumbers, but it's because I'm just now getting into the plumbing trade. So I have such a love for air conditioning in the industry, but I work for a company now that is now allowing us to be on from 8 to 5. And from that moment on, after 5, like I get to be off at the end of the day and spend time with my family. And like that break alone is so special. And I've in other companies worked to the bone and things like that. So like when people call in and they want emergency service, it's something that, yes, we would be happy to offer. But as far as, just it's amazing the ways that different companies operate. But yeah, with the business side of things and then the technical side of things, like it's interesting because I've worked with a lot of different companies in auditing their systems and how they work. And you see a lot of guys come from the field. They've worked in the field. They want their own business. They've got their truck. They get everything together, but they don't really know the business side of things and how that operates and how to learn how to know your numbers and how to make sure you are doing the workflows correctly if you are on ServiceTitan or even within smaller systems like Sarah, Jobber, or whatever. It's just like you do what you do to make sure that you're covering all bases. But like you're not going to just come from the field and then know how to run a QuickBooks with the rest of your crew all of a sudden. Like it takes so much different learning and skills and coaching, and everybody's looking for the next shiny object as far as coaching goes and who can teach them and get them implemented with this and that and the other. And AI shiny object syndrome too with Pantheon. Like it's just crazy as a business owner, like an all day, everyday spam calls, but anyways, so I don't know. Like,
yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. And so wood floor Chuck, who does wood floors, his name is Chuck, by the way, he's from California. He's pretty awesome. He said the biggest problem with trade schools is the lack of teaching the business side. Learning the skills makes you a valuable employee, but going out on your own can be discouraging when it comes to running the business side of things. And then it goes on. So he goes, I've seen phenomenal craftsmen fail in owning a business for that reason. So yes. And that's part of why trade associations and business groups within trades are so huge, and why people I'll put this back up here, why people tend to gravitate towards them. It's because they need that training and they were never given that training. But there's guys within the trades, myself included, that have sort of, really worked on the art and mastered the art of understanding the business side of it, that have excelled. And, you know, like, I mean, you can listen to Tommy Mello's podcast or anybody, and you can look at what's happening in the industry. I mean, there's more millionaires being made in the trades than in any other field, just because there's so many. And look, some of it is you could say what you want about what some is happening whenever you get, you know, lions, you know, whatever, wolves coming in and moving into an industry. They do all sorts of things, but the reality is that, you know, it's a good thing, right? It helps everybody get better. And you, Valerie, so just for those that don't know, so Valerie was referencing Pantheon, the largest trade software. Obviously, most people that watch this know this, but some don't. Is called ServiceTitan, and they run a huge event, massive. I think this year, I don't know, they had some celebrity guest. I forget who it was.
Certified administrator.
Yeah, so Valerie is a certified administrator for ServiceTitan. ServiceTitan is a robust software to a point where, and most of you know this, but like it takes like sort of like subcontracted coaches and implementation teams or individuals like Valerie who can optimize the software to do what you want it to do. And talk about that. So you did get certified.
I am certified as a user on the user side. So like if I was to go and work for a company right now, like I am with Auger Pros Plumbing, a wonderful company out of Allen, Texas, then I am their certified user within ServiceTitan. So Danielle Combs, if you want to get your team signed up and you're on ServiceTitan, she can get you connected. It's a great thing to get for your teams. They have it for CSRs and dispatching. They have it for inventory management. They have it for accounting, and they have it for residential administration on the user side. And then on the coaching side with a provider through ServiceTitan, there's GoTime, there's CertainPath, there's a lot of different best practice groups that have the certified administrating providers box from the trades. Great ones to work with, Powerhouse, you know, anyways, I could shout them all out, Titan Wizards. I love them all. They're great people. They're certified providers, but I'm a coach. I have Soul Shift Strategies is mine. I'm not really working through that right now, but it is something that I strive through to help with Auger Pros Plumbing with their user side of things. But basically being certified is something that I'm so proud of. I had to pass so many quizzes, so many different quizzes on ServiceTitan and how to pass through those and then take those. And I was fighting for the jackets. And one of the companies that I was at before actually promised their teammates that if they got certified within a certain time frame, they would get to go to Pantheon, and those teammates were not at Pantheon this year. And if they ever watch this video, I want you to know that I'm very proud of you, that you passed and that, you know, you've done a great job. And I pray to God you keep fighting to keep getting where you want to go in life, because things aren't always easy. I paid for my own Pantheon tickets myself. You know, it's not something that people can always help us with when we want those things for ourselves. But you know, to be promised something and not get to go, that hurt my heart, and I stand with you on those things. But anywho, to go back to that.
Well, you got paid. Wait. You paid for a bunch of tickets, and then you ended up selling one of your tickets to somebody, and then that individual didn't actually pay you for the ticket until you blasted them out on social media and you told them to, you know, what the heck's going on. And this was actually, this whole week kind of surrounded itself around this. I mean, it was nonsense. I mean, there was so much happening with like, and I applaud you. I think that what you did was perfect, because there's so few people that would actually like come out with it and say like, hey, this person actually ripped me off. And it was really good of you to kind of shine a light on that.
I definitely will be. So there's a lot of brave people within the industry, and I'll shout them out first. And they inspire me. There's Brianna Skiffington, there's Cassie Pound, there's Catherine Howard, and they are very vocal women. And I think that they help me feel like I can speak out more, like on my own ways of just speaking up for yourself, you know, and don't be afraid to take anybody's shit, man or female, anybody. And so, yeah, I put it on there because day by day went by, and it was becoming a hoopla, run around, whatever. And I've already heard of the reputation that other people may have had and everything that they weren't getting back to me on. And so that was a very unfortunate have to go vocal on those things, but I don't feel bad for doing that. I feel like a lot of people came to me and confided in me how they've been wronged. And if any of them wanted to ever, you know, come on here together and talk about it, we definitely could. But I stand for the little guy. I'm not the world's richest person, you know, so those tickets were, you know, they were going to be at a loss anyways, but to not get, you know, reimbursed on those things was going to be a big deal to me and my family. I literally got to take my son to, it was on my vision board with the LadyTitans in January. We jumped back, but anyways, I wanted to take my son to Disney this year, and so I got to do that. It was on my vision board, was Pantheon and Disney, and I turned it into a group trip. I made my vision board come true, and you know, those things are hard to attain, and I'm fighting very hard to combine these things together, motherhood and work, and make it work and take good care of my team and take good care of my family and put family first all the time in everything that I do. And that's other people's families first, the people that I serve and the customers that I take care of. So for somebody to have you know, to have done so much to other people that they've come forward and said like, hey, I'm still owed thousands of dollars, that was very disheartening. Or like to see different things being said about them that I'm not even going to repeat, but it was just sad. So like, I feel like that's just upsetting. But yeah, luckily I got
so so I've been approached. I don't want to go off on a little rant here, but I kind of need to. There's two things here that are really concerning, like to me. Okay, one is the fact that there are people that are out there that have bad intentions that, like, you don't even know that they have bad intentions. And the longer that, you know, you're around, you know, the longer you figure out, like, there's people out there that will take advantage of you. Now,
yeah,
so, but then for those people to be at the highest levels, for those people to be in a position where it appears as if they're super reputable and like, you know, raw, and like, you're like, holy crap, right? So here's what this does. And this is like, this really gets under my skin a lot. Okay. I pride myself on, like, I've managed teams. I've had 25 people underneath me. I've told people, listen, if you make a mistake, that's fine. But if you do something unethical, you're fired. There's no strike two. There's no strike three. And I lead with a very straight and narrow moral compass. And I know that you do too. And the thing that really ticks me off is that when those people who are sort of swimming in the same pool that we are, right? Like, you're a ServiceTitan coach, right? You have the, right. You love it. But the thing is that, like, if people know you, they vet you, they're like, okay, great, she's reputable. But somebody could turn that, right, and use your position and rip people off, and then suddenly no independent coaches and like, all these people, they lose business because, like, people are scared. They go, oh, well, I'm not going to hire this person because this other person ripped everybody off. So it's kind of like the dumb person in the class. You know what I mean? Like, the guy that does the dumb thing in the back of the class ruins the rest of the recess for everybody else. You understand what I'm saying?
I think that as far as like the coaching goes, you, as a business owner, you would need to be always like skeptical and do your research, and then also make sure your research isn't those who are backed by the money behind it as well. So like, just with ethics as a coach, if you're looking for help with coaching, there are a lot of great best practice groups and implementation coaches and things like that. But yeah, be very careful before you just sign on to a contract, because some coaches out there who do the same thing I do, and they have certified administrators on their teams and coaches, and they may not have fully teams with all certifications, or they may not be, you know, that ethical or things like that. So just make sure that the reputation of those that you're working with are those that you would stand behind as well. So
Sure.
When you would want to represent your company and to have your private administrative information and login access to, and your business is your baby. Your business is just as important as, you know, your family. My son that was sitting here right now, I love him to death. But if I had, you know, if my business, I'm taking care of my business to take care of my son and make sure that I provide him with a life. I want to make sure that those who I'm having represent my company, I would have them and trust them with my son and like everything, you know. So,
but you were actually approached to do something recently that was outside of your like, it was unethical. Let's just call it what it is.
Yeah, it's unethical.
I don't want to.
Zone change of policies and procedures just due to me expressing that I was uncomfortable with doing something that was very outside of what I think a lot of people agree with within this industry was not ethical. So it's not to say that they're not great people. Thank you for the opportunity, but I just it was not something for me to do. Like I can't go in and lie and pretend to be somebody else under the guise of getting demoed or whatever you want to call it. I
Do
don't
you
know how to
feel
do it
do you feel comfortable sharing what it was that was requested of you, or do you not want to talk about that?
It was basically just to reach out to competitors before a big event and get their pricing information, but to do it under a different name and like a different contractor, and then go under demo calls as myself face to face. And I had just gotten 40 under 40 ACHR this year, and I post myself all the time. I market myself I love to be out there and network and find people that want to grow too. So like people know me, and I am not competing with other people, but once the minute that I said, hey, I'm uncomfortable going on these demos face to face with other people, they literally just kind of changed the policies. And I had just started, and it was like I had just gotten my certificates and all that. It was just a big it sucked. But
so to be clear, the company asked you to basically be a secret shopper.
Yes.
But everybody knows. But everybody knows.
But I was very new, and I just let them know, hey, this makes me uncomfortable. They said okay, and then they changed the policies up, and then it was like, ooh, this is even different than I thought. And then like if with the certified coaching provider, that's not transferable. You have to go through a very extreme process of making sure that you're validating. They're not going to joke around at ServiceTitan. Like you have to make sure that you know what you're talking about. So I had to go through courses with typing tests, and I had to go through courses with multiple choice questions. I had to go through videos face to face with me pretending to coach people, and they thought they had my nuts in a twist where it wasn't going to get to go anywhere. Excuse my language and lack of better terms, but like I wasn't going to get to, I had to do it, whatever. And so I said, no, this makes me uncomfortable. Like I'm not going to do it. I'm not just misethical. I've been a bad person in my life before in the past, and I'm not saying that anybody's a bad person for the things that they've done, but just definitely in this industry, like it gave me the heebie-jeebies. Like I just want to make sure that I'm working hard for what I'm doing to take it.
You have every right to say no. I had an interesting I had a very interesting situation happen to me recently that I will talk about. I'm at like I do have a sponsor. I actually, you know what? I have two sponsors. I have two sponsors now. Actually, so check this out. So I was super anti AI in general, right?
Yeah.
And over the last couple of months, I've sort of tried to look at this and embrace it in some sort of way, because it's like the future, it's the present, whatever it is. So I got this. Okay, a buddy of mine actually has a company in New York, and they have this. Okay, so they're so busy that they literally can't get to the phones all the time, right? So you've heard of different voice services. This one is out of this world. Okay, the voice agent literally speaks in the tone of a real person from New York, and they have this for other markets. So if you can buy basically a flavor, right? So if the plumber's on a job, right, and the phone rings and he can't get to the phone, and let's be honest, most small contractors are three trucks. They don't have the time. So if somebody in the office can't answer it, defaults over to this voice prompt guy, right? And it's amazing. Goes right on the ServiceTitan board, boom, moves over, and they can see that somebody called. But it's called My Method AI, and the guys that run it, it's so super cool. And I've learned that this is not going to replace customer service agents. It's not going to replace anybody. It's going to shift the tasks around, but it's not going to replace anybody. It's not going to replace call centers. You're still going to have human interaction always at every company. But this, I was really surprised that it was so kind of cool. It's really quick, and it's helped them. And actually, literally, the guys who cannot get to the phone, guys are answering the phone by themselves. They pay a couple $100 a month or however much it is. I would encourage anybody to. I think it's mymethod.ai. and you can check it out. And so that was one. And so, yeah. And obviously I've had Cooper and Hunter as my sponsor for a while here. Cooper and Hunter HVAC systems. I saw that Arthur, the owner's son, actually just got engaged. Congratulations. You know, they made it. It's very cool. They make VRV, VRF systems, ductless mini splits. And they have a little, little.
Cooper and Hunter's new peak unit runs efficiently up to 19 SEER 2 with BTU capacity that ranges between 18 to 55,000 for indoor and outdoor units. Compared to a traditional gas furnace, Peak's revolutionary design is ready to step in without a hassle thanks to its adaptive multi-voltage. True high-performance hyper units provide a 100% heating output at negative 13 degrees. Looking inside the unit, the new M-Coil is highly efficient and provides a better airflow that reflects in a higher static pressure. Our Smart Kit is included, giving you access to control your device from the comfort of your phone. Peak stands for powerful, efficient, auto voltage detection, and quiet. To learn more, visit our website or talk to your local distributor. Cooper and Hunter, addicted to comfort.
And here, I'm gonna do this like boom, bam. You like that?
Loved it.
Okay. So, and check this out. So I want to just, because it's, when you listen to this, it's going to actually be pretty cool. I'm going to screen share for a second here. Check this out. Let me know if you can see this. Can you see this?
Yeah.
Check this out. Check this out. We'll just play 10 seconds of it.
It's a great day at Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and
Can you hear it?
Cleaning. This is Angelo speaking. May I have your first and last name so I can help?
Hi, my name is Adam.
Thanks, Adam. Just to verify, the service address I have for this number is Brooklyn, New York. Is that the address you're calling about?
Yes, that's correct.
Perfect. What can we help you with at that address today, Adam?
Like the thing.
I love the Brooklyn accent on that one. So
that's what I'm saying. It sounds. It sounds like a Brooklyn accent. It's wild. And so it'll be fun. But they're great.
Well, I was going to say, if you've got more to say on those things, but AI is wonderful. Like, I think that was wonderful, the Brooklyn accent and everything. It's not coming after anyone's jobs per se, but Pantheon was all about AI is what everyone was talking about. And I even, Chris just got replaced by AI pretty much at his job. Now, I don't know what was going on with that, but like, AI is the way of the future. It is something where not only can I go on there and make myself look like a beauty queen, but I can also go on there and I can make marketing for different businesses that, I wouldn't do this at this time, but you can, if you have your own marketing within your business, you can use like those types of AI features to make amazing ads. It's like graphic design. I love graphic designers. You'd still need to have a good eye on things and make sure that you're not just posting bullshit content, but you want to make sure that you're staying ahead of the game and using those types of features because it's amazing. AI is wonderful.
Woodfloor Chuck says, I'd be pissed if AI knew my address that easily. That's where personal interaction would be a benefit, in my opinion. So what I think happened was when they called in, they may have been a previous service customer. And so the system recognized that they were calling from that address. And Chuck, I want to say this. I literally was anti-AI. I in this context, it allows me, when I do things now, like quick stuff, it allows me to be more human. I actually can spend more time doing the things that like I sort of want to do. I don't want to, I actually think what'll end up happening in most companies is that like and he did say AI will be a great tool for all businesses to an extent. Yes. I do think that I think what'll end up happening is it'll make the company more efficient in ways that it won't actually deter from it won't actually deter from the experience. I think you still need humans. Nobody wants to deal with like an AI from beginning to end, like only weird people. But I think it'll make the experience better. And the AI aspect of it is just kind of cool. From that perspective, I just keep thinking about the one plumber who's in his truck who can't afford to hire somebody. So he's like, shoot, I can't get to my phone. And it just sounds good. And it's like, boom, goes on his dispatch board and he's good to go. I'm sorry, Valerie, go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to say, like, I used to answer for a call center with over 400 different companies, varying from bondsmen, lawyers' offices, water districts. Whenever there was the Texas freeze, people would call in and they were like, when am I going to have water? La, 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 la. I didn't have to save certain people's numbers, but those who had like handicapped loved ones and they couldn't get them, like they had to bathe them and things like that because they literally poop on themselves. Like, I would save their number and call them back. Like, I'll get you your, like, I'll let you know when we're going to have water, those types of things. You have to have human empathy on the line. If you're calling into these places and it's going to be a robot every single time that you call in, you will lose your mind. You will lose your customers, whether it is for the water district, the bondsman's office, the hospital, especially for the hospital. But like when I was working for them during COVID, people would call in and they would be upset because they couldn't get through to the Catholic Hospital Ministry's father, who was supposed to pray over the dying and the people that were dying from COVID or whatever. And they would call in and they would say like, hey, he never came and my baby died or whatever. And like, I had to like cry with them on the phone, and like these people needed loved ones and they needed someone to care and empathize with them. And whether I'm answering for that or whether I'm answering for your air conditioning business, you need somebody on the line to have a fucking heart. You don't want John from such and such AI answering in it. Yes, it can do what a human can do. Of course it can do it. But do you want them to do that and perform your heart surgery on your dying dad when he's laying on the table? Do you want that robot that they just implemented yesterday to come in and try it? No, you want somebody to talk to you. You want somebody to help you, somebody competent, somebody who can guide you through the call, who knows their scripting, whatever it is, for whatever the role may be. They need to be able to go with it. And so I love all the talk of AI. I think it's great. I think for after hours answering services and scheduling, integrating it into your ServiceTitan, hell yeah, you want that. You don't want to miss a damn lead ever. Speed to lead is important. If your AI can get to it, great, go for it. Have it schedule it after hours if you don't have a live agent to do it. Don't just let your stuff go to a voicemail. But don't replace your people like your dispatcher tomorrow and say, hey, I just put in Dispatch Pro or ProBook AI because I saw it at Pantheon. Those are great products, either one you use, but just look into what you're doing and make sure you're not replacing the human element within your businesses, because that's where the bread and butter is with servant leadership and making sure everybody's taken care of, whether it's the people on your team. That's why I do so well here, is because they understand the culture of letting their plumbers go home from 8 to 5 and like taking care of them, and they're, you know, not just stressing them to the bone 24 hours a day type of thing. It's like you have to have that human element of empathy and understanding. Like, yeah, you're not the one up in the attic all day, but you need to understand that your guys may need an extra day off. If they tell your dispatcher they're tired, don't just say, oh, so-and-so is always a little bitch boy all the time. Excuse my language, but like they have a baby ego. No, you need to make sure that you give that man a break because he might be going through something, and your technicians are your people. So like it's a whole process of like all across the board how to take care of people. But if you're replacing them with AI, that's unfortunate. But I love AI in the sense of it's not going to replace anybody if you learn how to leverage it and use it and like market with it. And
it's like anything else. Like, so back in the day, like my parents literally had a little business. They started from nothing, and then the filing cabinet that they used for accounts receivable and accounts payable, like literally they had a physical filing cabinet like in our basement, and then it, you know, my dad got QuickBooks. I mean, this came out in the 90s, right? I mean, it was pretty crazy. So like there's tools that will help you. I mean, he still needed warehouse help. He still needed a bookkeeper regardless. Like you couldn't get rid of the bookkeeper, but who knows what's going to happen on that
touchless integration too. Sorry to speak over you, but with touchless integration, people say I would never give all the trust away to that. You can still keep your bookkeeper. Your bookkeeper can still look over things, but with, you know, some of the smartest people I know in this industry, they're not paid to say touchless integration as they're just something they love. Like they're actually saying this is a tool that works for me if it's utilized correctly. I would look into those things, like follow the successes of other people that are spreading that knowledge to us. As you know, it's not that AI is taking over the bookkeeping and like going to mess up your numbers. You need to still know your numbers. But if touchless integration is something that makes it easier for your team, work smarter, not harder.
Well, I love how you said the human element, because I'm going to write a book called The Human Element. I believe that it's not already taken. And I do believe that. And actually, part of the reason why, and this isn't really a business building podcast, we just talk about this stuff, right, in natural conversation. But I'm not like bought and sold, right? So the thing is that the vast majority, you sign up for a podcast and you didn't realize, like, oh, this is like a marketing company that like just brings people onto this so that they can have conversations with industry. It's like, it's a great tool. Don't get me wrong. It's a really snazzy way, but my intentionality was always really forward. I'm going to fast forward because I said something before, and this is actually crazy. When you hear this, it's crazy. I was approached by a company recently to help them, with their sales efforts. And this segment is called Read Before You Sign on the Bottom Line. Well, they were fully aware that I do this, that this is part of like, whatever. I have conversations. This is sort of like, I have a hobby. This is in my free time. I'm not doing this on business hours. Yeah, there's a little bit of work to do or whatever, but like, okay, here's the thing. The reality is it reaches a lot of people. I have great conversations with people. I've talked to industry giants, right? Like I've had incredible tens of thousands of listens and downloads and everything now, right? So it's a great tool for anybody, like, whatever. If somebody wants to, court me, they know this is part of it, right? And so on the contract was an intellectual property clause, and I did not know this. And I almost signed it. And then there's like a 2-page clause that says anything that you do during the time that you work here belongs to us, that we have rights to it. It actually said royalty free, free to use. Now, the reason why they do this most of the time, as I understand it, as I've come to understand this, if you work for a company that has, let's say I knew this guy, he actually invented the character Bumblebee on the Transformers. Okay. I know this guy. He lives in a little house. He doesn't have a whole lot of money, and he never got the rights to Bumblebee because he worked for Hasbro at the time, and Hasbro had an intellectual rights where they're like, hey, you're on our dime. You're creating these things on our dime. We are the ones that are like going after. So I understand it from that perspective, right? So they say what you have to do is you have to list the things that you have intellectual rights to. So then I listed the things that I have intellectual rights to. I said all my business processes, everything that like I've done, like as far as like, in the background, Google Drives, whatever. I have different business. They said, fine. The second thing was I said previous, past and future podcast episodes, anything associated with my social media and any sort of like, podcast episodes that I have, whatever. And, so various social media, to which they actually said they like agreed to it. Then they amended it and they took out the clause of future episodes. And I said, I don't understand. You're saying I own the rights to my previous episodes, but not my future episodes? It makes no sense. I'm like, no, I don't think they were like, no, I don't think you understand this. If you're here, it's ours. Like anything you do is ours. We are buying you. And I was like, holy shit. Yes, true story. Yeah.
Well, that's like whenever I had said it, what made me uncomfortable.
I didn't, the whole thing was rescinded, right? Because but I'm saying like that's bonkers. And in that respect, right? I don't know. Were the intentions pure? Were the intentions like I'm being sincere and I just don't want you to do this podcast anymore? Or is it we want to own the intellectual rights to this thing so that we can use it as a marketing avenue moving forward?
I don't know. That's very interesting,
cautionary tale. Cautionary tale.
For sure.
And so you've been through that a lot.
A lot. I've had people that, they've even just told me not to network with people before who I've known before ever meeting them. And it's like, what are you talking about? Like, how can you try to, and it's just verbal, trying to contract me with verbal altercation, whatever. And it's like, you don't own me. Like, I appreciate your national efforts of trying to be known, but people know us because of who I am. Like, people know me. I'm not saying anything like they know, whoever they know, but anyways, it's just
question. And I ask this on every episode, so you're no exception. And I know that you didn't spend a whole lot of time in houses, but you've had a lot of interactions with a lot of people. And I understand the last one you gave me was the hospital one was crazy, by the way. What is one experience that you have been through specifically with a customer, if you can, that shapes you in some sort of way that was so profound that it moved you, that maybe you carry it with you wherever you go?
There was an old man who would call every day up to the call center. His name was David Cortate, and he was a lawyer, and he would check his messages every day, even though he didn't have any because he was elderly. There's so many different stories I have, and I remember all these people by name because I'm crazy like that. And so he would call in every day, and he would check in, and he would talk for a long time. Like my old boss Donna knows who, if she's watching this, she knows who I'm talking about. And so he would call in and he would call in. But one of the things that I take with me forever is a poem that he taught me by Wadsworth Longfellow, Harry Wadsworth Longfellow, or Henry Wadsworth, or whatever. And it's, you know, to be not like dumb driven cattle, you know, is what it says. Like to take things and really work very hard. Like you should pull that poem up. But anyways, the poem that he left me was something that I take with me. A lot of my call center experiences I take with me, like from the elderly people that I spoke with. So like there was a lady named Miss Luna, and she would call in all the time and let me know that they needed to turn her air conditioner up and all this and that. But I would talk to these people because their families had like abandoned them and different things like that. But I would talk to them for a long time, and they were in like the nursing home, and it was just like part of my job, and just everything that I carry with me as far as helping other people. Like when the water district didn't have the water, the person that I would call every day, they didn't have to, you know, have that kind of kindness from anybody. I just did that because it was like a hard time for everybody. And like I had other people yelling at me like, when am I going to get to take a shit and stuff? And I was like, I don't know when you're going to get to take a shit. Learn how to do it yourself, I guess. The toilets are frozen, you know, and all the Renai water heaters were out and all that. But I had still the patience in my heart to empathize with other people who were struggling and saying like, when am I going to get to bathe my loved one who isn't able to bathe themselves, and they're literally like going to the bathroom on themselves and stuff. And like I had to try to keep them updated even though I wasn't getting any updates. Like those things stick with me. But really, when I was thinking about this earlier, so when I was in this house, I haven't been in people's houses to serve their air conditioner systems, but I have been in the house, like the crazy house. So that's what I was thinking of when I was going to come on this podcast when you asked me this question, is when I was in this house, I was in the crazy house, and they wouldn't let me out until I was deemed safe to myself. And what that means is I need to be a better advocate to myself and learn how to take care of myself and really fight for myself and those types of things. And when I was in that house, I learned that everybody struggles. Everybody has the same heart and goal and mind, and that's to just be like better every day and try. And I know at the bottom line, like we may be different and have our differences, but your post the other day was very beautiful about how we can still all get along. And so I'm very quiet on politics. I don't have a stance on much. I think that we should all be kind and loving to each other in the short amount of time that we may have here, regardless of like whether life takes us anywhere afterwards of that. We have right now, right here, to prove that we can share a love with each other, you know, human to human, regardless of anything. So that's where I'm at with that. But I'll let you take back over from there, because it gets me emotional, really, to think about it. But when I was in this house, I was very sad. I was depressed, and I tried to hurt myself. And this was a long time ago. And I've learned over those times from leaving that house, the crazy house, to take care of myself. And yeah, if I wasn't in the air conditioning industry or didn't have my son, I'm not sure where I would be, or if I'd still be making the bad decisions that I was making before all of that or whatever. But I really think that the bottom line is that like I just want other people to know that they're not that crazy too, and that you know, the things that we want, we just want for each other is that safety and normalcy with each other, and like the security within your home and your fortress, and taking care of it, like, you know. So I always tell my customers when I take a call, like, I'll take care of your home like I take care of my own. That's a big thing to me, is like, I'll take care of you. So I've learned to take care of myself since leaving that house.
Wow, that's like super brave. That's amazing. Can I, since we're here and we're talking about this, I've suffered, and I have a very, very close family member who's suffering right now with the same thing. And I was telling my kids the other day, or actually I was telling my daughter this morning, that there are places that I hope that she never has to ever go, that later in life, that they're the places you hide away, that you don't talk about. But when I reflect back, things shape us. And so it's hard. I had people that were in prison for like 10 years on here. And when I asked them if they regretted anything or if they would change anything, would they? After spending years of their lives in prison, all of them agreed on, no, not really. I kind of ended up I kind of ended up with, the life I did because of the experience that I had. And hindsight's 2020 because you gain so much wisdom, but there's so much pain that can come right with that. Like there's so much pain that happens up to that point of getting out of the house, right? Like being able to be like, but the process is so painful. And let me do you know Kathy Nielsen?
Okay. Oh yeah.
So she recommended that I read a book, and I never would have thought that I would be so impacted by a book. The name of the book is Will. It's the autobiography of Will Smith. And throughout the course, and I know it sounds like, wow, big deal. You got to listen to this thing. Okay. And I say listen because it's on Audible. And like, so the thing is that like, he talks about this one part of the book that he says, like, he's like, there's a parable, and it's like you're going against the current. You need this boat. You get on the boat. You get across the river. You need the boat to get across the river. You get across, and you get across, and then you get across the boat, the river, and you got this boat, and you're trying to get through the forest now, but you're realizing you're like, I can't. This boat just saved my life, but you can't get through the forest with the boat. So what do? Like, you can't carry the boat with you, but the boat just saved your life. And so you got to drop the boat. And so sometimes the things that saved your life, right, you now have to shed those things and move on through the forest. And it was a beautiful sort of parable. I absolutely encourage you guys to read it. But thank you so much for sharing that very human human emotion. And I'd be remiss if I said, and I've heard this from so many people, like every podcast I've listened to of anybody who's been through like a bunch of really bad shit and emotional turmoil, I've always heard every single time, it never fails, I've some like connection that they made. And with you, it was like your family and your son and everything like that. But there was always something that meant more, like it's people who connect. And a lot of times, listen, AANA, very spiritual, very founded in God and spirituality. And I think that I've never met anybody that like got through the storm and then didn't actually tap in. I call it tapping in. Tap into something greater than they are, because you can't do it really yourself. You got to kind of tap into something else. And so I think we all call it something different. A lot of people call it things different, but I true wholeheartedly believe that. And I don't think anybody shared anything. So I've thought this is episode thing number 66. And I think no one has ever shared anything quite as meaningful as what you just did. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Yeah, and I want to say, like, one of the toughest houses to make comfortable can be your own mind, so we're always trying to take care of everybody else's home. And at the end of the day, the home that I have that no one can ever take away from me or make most comfortable is my mind. So when you're working on the things that make you feel good and the things that can drive your dreams and dream by day and by night or whatever, like, just keep going for those things. But really, that's what it is. So thank you, Chuck. Thank you for that.
Yeah, Chuck says great show. Trey says that's a great set of words. Yeah, I don't know which word you're talking about. I'm sure it's something that Valerie said. But hey, Valerie, let me ask you a question. So while we sort of like, maybe wrap up here, like, you want to plug anything? Are you working on anything? Is there anything you want to share?
I'll have to come back on later. There's a lot of things that my husband's really been trying to get taken care of and like working hard for our family. And yeah, the mind is a very powerful thing. It can make you or break you. Like even just coming on here today, and a lot of the podcast episodes that I have are about limiting beliefs. Trey, you're 100% right. So the mind is a powerful thing. Like, but you can make things happen like with your mind, like not to get too guru-y or whatever, but like manifestation is real. Like the things that you dream about and like look forward to and focus on, like you can make them happen. And whether like you don't reinvent the wheel, but find those ways to build the tribe around you. One of the things Mr. Rogers says, and I'm such a goose, I'm gonna quote Mr. Rogers, but he's a great person, is like find the helpers. And so like, and even if you're having a bad day or whatever, like if you're struggling and feel like, man, I just don't know what to do, like this is an area that I don't know what the heck to do with it, then start looking into those resources and finding those things. Don't just dive in and just funnel your money to it, but like start building on the areas that you need to improve on, and don't give up on yourself. Like if other people can do these things, we can do these things, and we can do them together and learn from each other, and beat the limiting beliefs within your mind. Because like coming on here today, I'm so blessed to see other people commenting and saying like that they're in support of what I'm saying, because like it really is what I have been able to do is in my success is dealing with anxiety, and it does build on itself. But we can be our own biggest critic, and be a good supporter of yourself. Like I always tell when I'm training, whether it be CSRs or anybody, business owners or however, you wouldn't ever say to a baby like, hey, you stupid baby, you just took a fall. You would say like, good job, little Timothy, like keep it up, buddy, like be gentle with yourself. You would never be that hard on a baby, and like treat yourself with like the love that you would to a child, and like grow it that way, nurture it with love and compassion, like the human element, like you got there. So yeah, that human element of just know to thine own self be true, be you, authentically you. Find those, like I've mentioned on this podcast, that help inspire me to be me and speak out freely on these things. A lot of these things I've been vague on, but it really is something where if I could just give the big fuck you to a lot of people, I would. But a lot of the things I would give the love you to more. So like out of the times when people did screw me over and things like that, sorry to jump back, but more people reached out to me to offer me help than those who were screwing me over at the time. So
see, that's very telling, right? So that says about your character that people were supporting you. I'll flip the script on you there. If you were like a cry wolf kind of person, you wouldn't have anybody. If you were insincere, you probably wouldn't get the support, because people would be like, oh, she's annoying, I don't want to support her.
It was interesting. People that I'm not even that close with, or like some of our 40 under 40 compadres, Mike reached out to me and offered to pay the bill or whatever. Like, and I didn't take it or whatever. Of course I didn't. I got paid, but like even if I had never gotten paid, it would have been like, that's such a sweet thing. And so many nicer people. Like there's more good in the world than people that screw people over. But just be very careful with your interactions as a business owner, because a lot of people did reach out and said like that that some people are still owed thousands of dollars. And if that was me, I would be so vocal right now. I'm not sure if they're like in legal battles is why they're not on there, but if you need me to go on there and say some things, I will. I'll go light a fire under their ass. But no, well, so I have a big following.
We'll have to set up another episode. By the way, somebody that you might know from ServiceTitan is actually going to be on here on October 20th, which is Sarah Pellet Gerardo.
Oh, I love her so much.
Yep, she's going to be on. And then, so the big date here, guys, is on October 14th. I'm doing a sales rep versus selling tech battle of the ideals. And this goes for like whether it's plumbing sales or HVAC sales. And it's like, I have so much interest in this thing. And so it's between the traditional like sales rep that goes out there and does the selling in the trades, and the actual tech that does the selling in the trades, and what makes more sense. And we're going to battle it out. I have a panel.
I want to be on that episode.
I have a panel, like it's like 8 people. It's going to be amazing. And then on October 22nd, 21st next month, I'm going to have Drew Cameron, the legend Drew Cameron. Look him up, Google him, the guy's Drew Cameron. I want to leave us because unless you have, I wanted to say one thing before. Do you have anything?
Team TGL.
Oh my
Smokey
God.
is Team TGL. We always turn it over. So we run the TGL process call by call. We know how to do it and make that, the best service possible.
One vote at a time. I'm going to point out a couple things here. I have a buddy of mine. His name is Hilly. He made this for me. It's made out of like some metal. He does some kind of chemical process in his house or whatever. It's amazing. I don't even know how he did it, but it's like etched on there with like this like photonic. It's absolutely incredible. It's metal. It's freaking really, really cool. Okay. Valerie, did you have anything else? I wanted to say one thing before we wrapped up.
No, I'm good. Thank you for having me on. And I do look forward to being on next time.
You made mention earlier of a post that I had earlier on this week, and I have to mention it, and I'm glad that you brought it up. I'm going to read it. And I want everybody to because when I write, I write like I'm speaking, and it doesn't always necessarily come off in the way, right? I try, but you can't always do that. The post said this. It said, you can still love, support, and remain friends with someone, even if they don't share the same opinion, even on divisive topics. I've seen a lot of people say there goes another one and one more down a lot recently. And this is in response to, people just deleting Facebook friends and, everything else. And I said, I'm sure these weren't very close friends, but the sentiment that you have to agree with every opinion or throw the baby out with the bathwater is nonsense. I can be your friend. I will be your friend if you don't agree with me. I will not throw the baby out with the bathwater. And then people responded in, nice ways, not nice ways, whatever. And one of the things that was sort of brought up was, well, yes, but if, I lost my uncle over a conversation, I lost my aunt, I lost this, I lost that. And that was my sentiment. It's like, we don't have to agree. And it's okay. It's totally okay for us not to agree on things. And that's the beauty of being, there's different flavors of ice cream, right? And so let's stay united. Let's stop being divided.
I'm going to say something. I was in the 5th grade when 9/11 happened, and I'm not sure, but I'm sure when that building fell, nobody was asking, what side were you on? Are you Republican? Are you a Democrat? Do you care about this before I try to carry you down these stairs? I don't think anybody gave a shit. They tried to save each other, and that's what mattered. And I think, as an American, it doesn't matter what side you're on. We need to stand together. I think that we, stand together and we stand united, but divided we fall. And I would save your life no matter who you, voted for. I do think that if you say negative things about those who have passed on, that is a very shitty thing of you to do as a person. But, I can't stop other people from saying things or from being politically driven. But I can just say that if you were on that building with me that day, I would try to carry you down the stairs, or we would save each other regardless of who we voted for. And that's just all I got to say about it. I don't know of any other way to compare it, but that's
Love
just,
it.
Yeah.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen,
the human element.
Valerie, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Until next time. And I don't think I have an episode. Sorry. One more thing. Service World Expo is coming up next month.
Oh yeah.
I have a code SWE. It's house 100. You get $100 in any service you're in. You have to go to Service World Expo. It's house 100. You get $100 off registration. Tomorrow there is an audio and there's a video podcast being. I did an interview with Jim Hinshaw, the vice president of sales of Service Nation. And it's going to be fantastic. It's going to go out there. Everybody's going to love it. We had a great time. It's like a 40-minute episode. It'll be really good. So go to Service World Expo. I'm going to be there. A lot of other people are going to be there. Rock and roll. House 100 if you guys want to register. Awesome.
It's an amazing time. You should be there.
We'll see you
House
guys
100. Bye.
later.